Can't believe it, Jensen. An internment camp smack dab in the middle of Detroit. Shit.
Here, this is for you. It's a corporate passport encoded with your biometrics. I've set up a false flag routing which should get you to Henshaw Island without any problems.
You're sending me to China? What about FEMA?
FEMA's got nothing to do with this, trust me. We'll have better luck in China.
How can you say that? I saw the bastard who killed Megan pulling his men out of that facility. I left one of those men dead in its underground storage bay.
I know that, Adam. Frank was monitoring the whole thing. So I also know that before he died, that man gave you an address in China. I want you to check it out.
That doesn't make any sense.
Look, Adam. There's a reason this company's under attack. You think it has to do with the Typhoon or with some other top-secret military project that I haven't told you about?
The thought had crossed my mind.
Yeah, well, it doesn't. The work Megan's team was doing before they were killed, it was redefining what it means to be human. This company, Seraph Industries, was about to lead mankind to its next stage in human development. Self-controlled evolution. Can't you see how scary that can be to some people?
Sure. I also see how lucrative it can be for some others.
It's never been about money for me, Adam. But you're right. There are people out there who don't exactly feel the same.
Like who?
I'm hoping you'll be able to find that answer for us in China. So get going. Farida's prepping the chopper.
I will not be accompanying Mr. Taggart to the charity dinner tonight. I must head to Utah instead.
To the rehabilitation center. Does Mr. Taggart know this, sir?
Of course he does. I would not be leaving if it were not a medical emergency.
Of course, I understand. I can't imagine what it must be like to willingly give up an implanted limb.
Please, make sure Mr. Taggart is up to date itinerary-wise, and I will rendezvous with you later this week.
Understood, sir.
You're Taggart's aide, aren't you? Dr. Isaiah Sandoval, isn't it?
No need to play ignorant, Mr. Jensen. I am quite sure you have a file on me that's as thick as the one you have on Mr. Taggart.
You're an outspoken activist in your own right, Dr. Sandoval.
When you have seen the things that I have, you find you have no choice but to stand up and be counted. Frankly, I am surprised an ex-cop like yourself isn't more disturbed by the dangers of this technology.
Augmentations help a lot of people, Doc. Handicapped, war vets.
Yes, but at what cost? My own friend had his life ruined by these so-called enhancements of yours. A man much like you who had no choice but to become augmented. Yet once he was... Too much power can make you do terrible things, Mr. Jensen. I suggest you think long and hard on that.
I'd like to hear more about your friend, Dr. Sandoval. What exactly did he do?
Nothing.
Was he injured in the Gulf?
He went on a rampage in a shopping mall, if you must know, hoping to be gunned down by the police, rather than face a lifetime battling augmentation addiction.
He was addicted to augments?
They don't talk about it in those corporate brochures of yours, do they? neuropozyne dependency, rejection psychosis. Any number of physical and psychological ills have resulted from this technology, and yet we rarely hear a word about them.
I'm sure the literature is out there.
No thanks to the throng of corporate lawyers attempting to stop it.
Your friend, did he succeed? Did he suicide by cop?
No. Bill Taggart talked him down.
What do you think? It's his brother, for Christ's sake. Look, I really can't speak about that right now. Not here. Yes, of course. Goodbye. Mr. Jensen, I was wondering if you'd want to speak a bit more. You've thought about what I said?
I'm curious about something, Mr. Taggart. What is it you hope to accomplish by coming here tonight?
I would think that would be obvious. Your company has been viciously targeted. The violence and bloodshed that's occurred, it must be stopped. But I'm afraid it won't be until men of wisdom and understanding come to an agreement.
About what?
About the future, Mr. Jensen. This enhancement technology threatens to change the course of human evolution, to redefine what it even means to be human. You think governments can afford to let that go unregulated?
You can't stop progress, Mr. Taggart.
Perhaps not. But neither can we afford to sit by and watch it happen on its own. Not when we have the ability, the collective will, and foresight to influence it.
I see. Thank you for illuminating me.
Anytime. I'm glad we had a chance to talk, Mr. Jensen.
Hey, Jensen. The boss said you were on your way. You're gonna love Hangsha.
You've been there?
Used to live there. I spent 3, maybe 4 years working in the upper city, and most of my nights having fun in the lower one. You ready to go?
I thought I was. How long is this gonna take, Malik?
You mean the flight or the fun afterward? Don't worry, we'll be there before you know it. Climb in.
So this is, pretty soon we'll see one of my favorite parts of the game, visually speaking. This is the matte painting that was done by Metazart, a company here in Montreal. And we needed this really impressive vista of a Hangsha, seeing the upper Hangsha and the lower Hangsha. And should appear just about now. There we go. So really stoked about it. I think it came out really good, this whole idea of a double-decker city. And yeah, it's kind of sci-fi and incredible at the same time.
Yeah, it really shows it off, and what I remember about this actual cutscene was that we produced for this cutscene for the game, but we then did a different version for the E3 demo because the story changed. But we used the exact same visuals, so we had to rewrite the dialogue and fit it into the time frame that we had to make sure that it was exactly going to work, even though it was all different.
Have you seen Ning lately?
Not since last.
Oh no, don't tell me I left my purse in there with May. Hey, mister, you think you could go in there and pretend to be a customer? It might break up the fight.
I told you, I am not getting argument. Not for...
May, you have a customer. Get to work.
You're not a customer, are you?
What makes you say that?
The way you move, your attitude.
And what's my attitude?
Police. Or soldier. Someone on business. So why are you here?
I heard your argument. What was that all about?
They want me to get augmentations. For the customer's pleasure. It's sick. I quit before I ever let them touch me.
Sounded like they don't consider it an option.
They don't. I am lucky, I guess. I've been here the longest. It has advantages. But the new girls, they're not so lucky.
What do you mean?
They are forced to get augments. It's very bad. One of the girls who work here, Ning, she has been gone for days. I fear they took her and will force her to get augmented. You seem like a good man. I am desperate. Please, can you help? I can pay you.
Isn't this a job for the police?
The police leave Lower Hansa to Bell Tower. And Bell Tower not care what happens if criminal pay them money. They don't care about my friend or any of the other girls forced into the sex trade.
You keep referring to them. Who are they?
The Honghua Hotel used to be independent. In the past, we had a deal with local police for protection. And because we ran a clean and safe business, they looked the other way. But then, things changed.
What happened?
Bell Tower become the police in Lower Hansa, and they not care to help us. So, a drug lord came in with all his men and took control. Things has never been the same, and we cannot do anything about it.
Why do you think Ning has been kidnapped?
Before, we could always refuse augmentations. But more and more girls got them, and it brings more money. Now they force us to do it. They won't even hire purebreds like me anymore, because they're not as popular.
Is Ning one of the pure breeds?
Yes. Oh, well, I hope she still is. They started pushing for her to get augments. She say no even when it gets violent. Now I fear they lose patience and will force the operation. Ning's not the first, and she won't be the last.
Okay, I'll help your friend.
Thank you. I knew I was right about you, Mr.
Jensen.
Mr. Jensen. I fear there's little time. You must find Ning before they leash her with augments.
Leash her?
Yes, they call it that. They leash their girls with augments to keep them under control by supplying neuropozyne. I do not know where they keep Ning, just that it is somewhere in Dagong district.
A specific location would help.
I tell you, I do not have one. But there is a bouncer here, Chuan Li. He works with these people. He will know where Ning is. He goes to the roof to smoke often. Look for him there. You might be able to convince him to reveal the place.
Anything else you can give me?
Yes. The men holding Ning. They most likely work with local triad gang here, the Harvesters. If you look for some of them around, maybe you find Ning better.
Got it.
Jensen, you lost or something? Didn't think it would take this long to check out one apartment.
I took a detour. Tell me something, Malik. You think a smart card with a Tai Young Medical logo on it will come in handy in this town?
TYM, the global leader in augmentation technology? They put up almost half the cash to build this city, so maybe. Why are you asking?
No reason. Just thinking ahead.
So the mission in the Grotto, we have to pick up the security card of a bell tower guard to get access to the Tai Young Medical. I remember that was
working in Upper Angsha before we cut it. In the Chinese office, Stephen, you did the Chinese
It's a government
office,
office.
Rest in
Yeah,
peace.
the Chinese government office. Yeah.
Rest in peace, Gov China.
Gov China, yeah.
Yeah, that was a really cool level that credibilized the entire process of the whole smart card that we needed. And in the end, we just put it in the brothel. So that was probably the cut that really is a little odd, but it worked.
But Mary managed to create a story around that.
Well,
guy.
actually, I don't think it was me because I think
was
the
it?
I think
Was
the
it?
Upper Hangsha, the government office, there was tons of stuff going on in there, and you're supposed to get in. And when we had to cut it, I think it was one of the level designers for Hangsha, might have been Francis, who said, "Let's put it in a brothel," because we should have a brothel. It's a different location. And I remember someone raising that in the meeting, and everyone going, "Yeah, that's really cool." And I'm sitting there going, "Okay, we'll find a way to do that."
Is it normal that
it worked.
most of my memories of the Chinese government office are torturous and painful?
No.
Yes, because you had this big,
big
cleaning robot that was
The
cleaning
window
the windows
cleaning.
outside.
That's actually probably the only one that I like as a memory. I mean,
But
Yeah,
you
you
also had
dreamed about
something
it for
about
months.
the dumpster that you could
no, but the map
jump.
itself, there was something about it. Like it
Yeah,
just,
the endless stairs. Like you couldn't go through the elevator,
was-
and you have those stairs forever.
it just wasn't gelling or something.
It
I
was
don't
just the best map in the game.
know. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's
Okay, so I'm not the only one then. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, it was your first map ever as a level designer, right?
The cleaning robot was awesome. It's like this, right? As we'd walk next to the
Yeah, it was
windows,
supposed
we'd
to be
see
like
this big
spinning.
robot,
That
and
was
then with
cool.
those suction cups, walking in the building and with those big brushes.
And actually, you were going outside through a window that has been broken or something.
You would pass under one of
Yeah,
those robots.
exactly,
Yeah.
yeah.
All things you guys will never play.
I wouldn't go upstairs if I were you.
Why not? Wait, don't tell me. May and Edgar going at it again?
Yep. You know what that means.
Yep. Edgar in a bad mood. Shame, too, because he can be sweet when he wants to.
I'm always amazed by what May gets away with.
Well, she's earned the right to talk back from time to time. She's been around as long as he has. You know, she practically ran this place before Chance.
I wish she still did.
You and me both, girl.
Access grant.
到这儿来，帅哥。
Can't you give me a little discount this time?
Sorry, but for the service you want, you damn well better believe I'm.
You want best in the city? You come to right place. Look on computer and see for yourself. Fortune and glory to you. You look here. Fortune and glory to you. You look... You make me poor. Deal with you no fun. Here, everything for good price. Fortune and glory to you.
Wigs in the upper are playing mahjong in their mansions, ordering concubines and eating sushi.
Shove off before I shove you off.
I'm here to see you.
Uh-huh. What about?
Ning.
Open the phone book. Plenty of them in there.
Your friends are holding her. I can make it worth your while if you tell me where.
Worth my while? Yeah, maybe. Let's see some credits first, the tough guy, and then maybe I'll tell you where to find her.
I gotta make sure she's okay first. She'll be a lot more valuable to me, and you, if she's alive and in one piece, if you know what I mean.
I get it. Smart businessman you are. Okay. I'll tell you. They're holding her on a small side street just off the open gutter in the Daigong district. But listen, I didn't say anything, right?
Access granted.
I'm not sure if you've discovered this yet as you've been playing this game, but Human Revolution is full and full of Easter eggs. There are thousands of Easter eggs within this, and one of the Easter eggs that I was particularly fond of, that I didn't know about but was told by the artist, is that the level designers and level artists for Hengsha actually thought it would be really, really cool to put the codes for the storage units in plain sight. And you see basically next to the storage units. So as you're going through and you see all these storage units, all these garage doors, and if you look at the wall next to them, there are numbers all over the place, and the ones that are underlined inevitably end up opening up the storage units. So that I thought was a really cool Easter egg.
I worked so hard to find these bloody codes. They're just there.
Well,
I didn't know about this.
I don't think a lot of people on the team knew.
One of the interesting things about that little Easter egg is that it gave a secondary way to give a code that was not a pocket secretary, which...
True.
As designers, we kind of had gotten fed up with pocket secretaries.
And as writers who had to write them, so did we.
Yeah. So exactly, we were a little fed up of people accidentally forgetting their codes and leaving them in pocket secretaries to be found. So this was a fun way to do it.
Smart little bastards.
Access granted. Access granted.
Leave me!
Something strange is happening here. What the hell was that?
Leave me! Get away! Leave me! Who are you?
Your friend May sent me. She said you were in trouble. Are you hurt?
May. Thank God. And no, I'm fine. They didn't touch me. Not yet, anyway. If you hadn't come, though. How did you find me?
I asked around. I can be persuasive.
I have to get out of here.
You sure you're okay? Can you leave here on your own?
Yes, thank you. Whoever you are, thank you so much. I need to go. I need to get out of this city. I need to get away from that monster, Chan. Tell May, tell her. Thank you for everything. I owe her. I owe you both my life.
前阵子给你看的时候，是发现我的。
Ning, did you find her?
I did. She's safe, but running. I think she plans on leaving the city.
She always is a smart girl. I'm glad. I will contact her to make sure she is safe. As promised, here's your payment. If you want more, I have another task. Something suitable for a man of your many talents. Are you interested?
My interest would depend on the task.
By now, I'm sure you heard of Diamond Chan. He is evil man who feeds off the pain and misery of this city. If we are to stay in peace here, he must be taken care of.
You want me to kill Chan?
Yes, but you must make it look like an accident or suicide.
There has to be another way to remove Chan from the picture without resorting to murder.
There is. I have access to certain stimulants. If Chan was caught with them, he would no longer be a problem.
Meaning I could plant drugs on him.
Not on him. Somewhere in his apartment will be enough. He may be dead though. So knock him out, leave the drug, and come back here to me. I have a friend. He works with the police. I'll contact him and he'll make sure Chan is arrested.
Once Chan is gone, what will you do? Won't some other drug lord turned pimp take advantage of your vulnerability?
I know someone who recently started his own security company. I will hire them to protect us. It should be more than enough, and I can trust them.
Tell me about Diamond Chan.
He's a monster. At first, he forced my girls to take drugs until they be addicted. It made them easy to control and dependent on him. But now, with cheap black market augmentations and customers with augmentation fantasies, it is even worse.
The leashing you spoke of earlier.
Yes. In order to squeeze more milk from his cows, he butchers them. The augments are just another form of control. The girls can always be tracked, and the need for neuropathy means they will not run away.
Why does his death need to look like a suicide?
I've made threats against Chan in the past. Because you helped Ning, if anything happens to Chan now, his harvester friends will think we are responsible. I do not want that to happen.
I'll do it.
Good. I'll give you the address of Diamond Chan's apartment. It is on one of the nearby rooftops. Lower Hansai is a dangerous place. Simply knock Chan out, then drop his body into the alley below. Gravity will do the rest. But if you wish only to get Chan arrested, take these drugs. Plant them somewhere in his apartment after you've knocked him out. When you are done, return to me and I will contact my friend in the police. He will do the rest.
Anything else I should know?
Chan should be alone. He is too proud to have bodyguards around. But be careful. Even alone, Chan is dangerous.
Got it.
Mr. Jensen, remember not to cause any wounds on Diamond Chan that make it look like murder. Any suspicion will bring us more trouble from his friends.
So no tranquilizers or peps. Which means strictly hand-to-hand submission shouldn't be a problem.
That is good, yes. Good luck, Mr. Jensen. I will wait here.
到这儿来，帅哥。
Access granted.
You know, it's an amazing view of the city streets. It's just hey, do you know how to get to the Honghua Hotel?
Ah, I see. Someone's looking for some action, huh? Quigan District. Just walk over there and go down the stairs. This rooftop connects to all the districts.
Thanks, buddy.
No problem. Have fun.
What are you looking for, though? Guns? Hacking equipment?
What makes you think I'm looking for that kind of stuff?
Hey, I don't want to step on your toes. Just saying, if you need anything, there's a merchant at the Honghua Hotel who can help you.
All right, man. Noted.
到家人来，帅哥。
Ever since Ning went missing, May has been on the warpath.
Has Chen been taken care of?
I planted the drugs and left him unconscious in his apartment. Your friend should have no trouble with the arrest.
I will contact him immediately. Thank you.
Just glad I could help.
You saved us, Mr. Jensen. Money does not feel like enough thanks for what you have done. But here's the payment promised. I hope you will be satisfied with it. 喂，健，是梅，都好了，他做了。是，谢谢，祝你好运。
Access granted.
What happened?
This is the spot.
Keep looking. Someone must be there.
Someone's fooling around.
What happened?
Right in front of you guys, I want you guys to meet our little friend named Chubby.
He had a name?
Yes, he
I
had a
didn't
name.
know that.
Chubby? Chubby is this stuffed lion that one of the level designers, Jasmin Roy, had on his desk. And he had asked one of the modelers, I believe it was Tanya Lyon, who to model it, to put it in his level. And once he put it in his level, it was kind of an inside joke between all the level designers, this little plush doll that Jasmine really liked. And so we started putting it everywhere, like everywhere. Every level designer kind of hid one in the level. It got to a point where it got a little bit out of hand.
Is there an achievement attached to that?
We
There
wanted
could have been.
we wanted one, but there wasn't. So it got a little out of hand when our lead was going through the levels, and he was just getting frustrated because he was finding lions everywhere. So he actually asked the QA team to go through the whole game and bug every single
One of
Chubby that they found.
Did they find them all?
The bright side to this is that they did not find them all. So if you find one, that's a little present from us.
That's the only one that is kind of the secret switch for...
That one is a legit one. It's actually
Yeah.
got a purpose. You can push it and it'll open the door to the back to make sense of the whole secret compartment. But the rest of them, not really so much. So keep an eye out for Chubby.
Feed him if you can.
Here we are with the objective of getting the email off of Van Bruggen's computer in order to know where you're supposed to go next. And there is another email on that computer which actually ties into the idea that there is this hidden hacker somewhere in the city of Hengsha who's quite good. He's, as I mentioned earlier, he originated all the Nigerian emails, but he actually has a transcript of the opening conversation in the game, the conspirators with Bob Page all talking, and he kind of has heard that whole conversation and sends an email to Ari Van Bruggen on his computer saying, you've got to come and see this, and if you can find that hacker's computer, you'll get the transcript of the opening conversation.
And also,
yes,
we can see that little post-it, right?
I know you guys have seen the Forever Alone and the troll faces that we put on post-its all over the place, so we have a lot of fun making games, so.
Or making games are not fun enough, so we need to add.
We have to have some fun in them as well.
Yeah.
Access granted.
Get word to Pritchard, Malik. The hacker who's been attacking us goes by the handle Windmill. Real name's Ari Van Bruggen. Bell Tower's been brought in to arrest him.
Arrest or get rid of?
Either way, he found out someone was gunning for him and took off. We need to find him.
There's a nightclub near where I dropped you called the Hive. It's notorious in black market circles. If this Dutchman is running, his first stop will be there.
I'll have a chat with the owner.
So here we're in a bathroom, and you can see the 3 shells. This is one of the many Easter eggs in the game, and this is taken from Demolition Man, which I'm not even sure what even in the movie what they do. Yeah, this is the level artist, Hubert and Thomas, who had fun with these things, and but I think that's the point in Demolition Man. I think he even the
mystery.
The dude, yeah, even him, he doesn't even know what the shells do, and here they are in the game, and we don't know what they do either.
But Thomas and Hubert were kind of very good at putting a lot of weird stuff in the maps, like
they were the funny
hot
guys.
Dogs.
Yeah.
If you remember, like especially in Upper Angsha, we had this massive hot
dog.
But
the story, the reason why it was a massive hot dog is an amazing story, because we had the hot dog stand in Detroit, right, to sell the hot dogs, and we needed little hot dogs, modeled, and whoever modeled them, the mustard on the sausage was actually modeled. It wasn't like a texture or whatever. It was like 3D mustard for a thing that took 3 pixels on screen. So we had such a great laugh that they blew it up. They made the hot dog really big to show that, look, even at this size you can see the mustard.
So kids, if you're studying to be in the game industry, never do this kind of thing. Never do that.
If you have to do mustard, do not model it. All right, use a texture. Please.
Don't do that.
Or wait like 2 or 3 console generations at least before you model it. But yeah, so they ended up like they would hide that hot dog in drawer, not drawers, but closets. So you would open closets and the hot dog would be there.
Like, surprise!
Yeah,
they hid it in the roof, the fluff as well.
Yeah, Antoine, it's something you ran in the Upper Angsha. It was a guy that was walking or something.
Yeah, there was a catwalk somewhere, and then there's a guy that walks up to it, just scratches his head, like, I don't know what that is. And then he turns around and just come back and still don't know what that is.
And the thing is that we thought for a long time that they were still in the game, but they have been removed.
Yeah,
it became a hunt. Yeah. It was like everybody was like, I think I saw one. I saw one somewhere, and I don't know where it's. I found it.
I wish we would have left at least one. Yeah. And also, are the petals still there? The rose petals? Because it was an apartment, either in Upper Angsha or Lower Angsha. You'd be like in the living room, and it was like this path of rose petals, and you'd follow it and get into the hallway, and then it'd stop in front of a closed door, and then you open it. It was a bedroom, and then the petals kept on going all the way to the bed. And I was like, and again, it's Hubert and Thomas who did all these crazy things. Were always done by these 2 guys.
Jensen, figured you might want a heads up before you stroll into the Hive. The owner's name is Tong Si Hung, Tong being his last name. Rumor is he's tied to the Triads.
China's organized crime lords. How wonderful. Anyone else want a piece of this pie?
那好，再见。
Buddy Les never pays to get into the hive.
Does he know one of the bouncers?
So here in Angsha, like a lot of people are talking in Mandarin and everything, and that was one of the things I wanted on the project. So since we were to travel around the world, I wanted the players to be able to feel the real place, like if they were
like
there,
they were really traveling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When you go in a foreign country and you don't understand the language, you feel that you're a stranger, and that's the kind of feel I wanted to have.
And it made it an interesting challenge for us from the writing side because, of course, we had to a couple of challenges. First, we would always, of course, write in English, and then we had to kind of decide which parts would be in Mandarin and which would not, because you didn't want to. If the player was playing without subtitles on, because all the subtitles would be in the English, but if they weren't playing with subtitles, we still have important story information, important gameplay information that has to be communicated, and we have to do that, which is why you'll have a lot of the conversations as you're going through it. You'll see that there's an English person speaking to a Mandarin speaker, and that is going on in the game.
And at some point too, Antoine, we had an augmentation, right?
Yeah, it's true. We had a long discussion about using an augmentation to actually actively translate Mandarin, or any language for that matter, that would be visiting. I think we cut it because it was
well, it got so big because all the signs would be in Mandarin, and do we now suddenly look at signs and we see the signs in English? And
just
that would have been that would have been awesome.
It would have been awesome.
The augmented reality and all that
really,
kind of stuff.
Really hard.
Yeah. We could have translated a translation into another language, and the subtitles translated from the.
And as it was, we had to get most of those translations done so quickly that we were having our receptionist translate all the dialogues, and I think we had artists who were actually doing all the signs.
Yeah, one of my concept artists, Deng Lu Yu, who's Chinese, did a lot of the translation, a lot of the Chinese signs, and all that.
Imagine all the mess of queuing and this thing as well, translating.
So, yeah. And I hope for Chinese people that we did an okay job.
An okay job.
Good to see you again, sir. Go right in.
That's right, Bell Tower.
So now we're in the Hive, the bar that we have to meet our friend Tom Sion. And actually that bar went through many iterations, like we have memory limitations, we have streaming also to consider a lot of things, but we wanted to build a place that would feel alive, that would feel that people will go there to have a good time on a Friday night after working hard all the week long and everything. And in the first iteration of the bar that we had, especially we were trying to nail this down for the 2010 E3 demo.
Yeah.
And everybody were sitting around and just talking. And when we were getting in this place, it was like, it felt totally dead, like it didn't feel, and especially
and it's
that we
supposed to be the most popular nightclub,
and we couldn't have that many NPCs on screen. And I went like, let's try to not add people, but instead have some of them that are standing up and just dancing, moving a bit, even though they don't do much. And just by doing that, it totally changed the
atmosphere,
the perception and the atmosphere of the place.
It's funny because we tried to make a really popular area, but the thing is, designers were limited in how many people we could place on screen at any given time. So it was really tough to make a crowd-like club scene with 15 people.
But in the end, it's not too bad.
Yeah, so we had to make people move around a lot, do a lot of different occupations that involved movement, especially because.
But it was mainly movement in place.
In
because
place.
Those were the light and pieces
Nobody's
that they
moving
couldn't-
around.
couldn't-
There's not one person moving
I think
around.
there's the
There's a
waitress.
few. There's a very few that
Are there?
actually,
I don't
that
remember.
are actually
To me,
moving.
everybody's
There's a few.
just yeah.
They're cycling around,
But maybe it's one or two in pieces.
it's really not many.
And I think the name of the hive, actually, if I remember correctly, it was a placeholder name. The hive. We were
It was a
working
working
on the
title for
early
the bar.
story and stuff, and we were like, oh, we need a bar, and it should be like the hive or something. And so we kind of put it in as a placeholder, figuring we would change it later. But then actually it ended up.
Well, Thierry, the concept artist who had a big part in visually designing it, got really inspired by that name, that temporary name, and made it look into some kind of design version of a beehive. So then we had to stick with it, I guess.
And then
right?
we could work with the worker bees and all that.
Yeah, they
Worked
inserted
really,
it in the
really
text.
well.
Dialogues
Inspired
afterwards.
dialogue,
Yeah.
everything.
Inspired
So
some of the character
sometimes,
design as well.
Yeah.
sometimes temporary names.
And this
stick.
place, I like it. It has a good atmosphere.
Yeah.
The place looks good.
Yeah, because that was the idea, to make like bars in video games usually don't really feel like real bars. They feel like places. Like if you're some kind of alien that has been told what a bar is supposed to look like, but you've never been, and then you have to design it. That's usually what they look and feel like in video games. And I wanted to make sure that it wouldn't happen that way in the SX Human Revolution, and also some of the contemporary stuff like the big media wall with the LED lights and it actually turned out pretty well.
From far away in the streets as well. Like,
True. So it could have been even more credible than that, but I think it's one of the good. It's even like I think it's Xbox magazine. I don't remember. Probably not. Anyway, there's an article about all the, I think it was like the top 10 or top 5 best bars in video games, and we were like number 2 or something like that.
Which is not too bad. And I think also the song helps to sell the place.
The
as
whole
well.
thing
It creates a good atmosphere.
It broke when you got in. It broke the pace a bit. It changed the feeling the player had. And just get in, it's like a whole new environment within an environment. That was cool. It made you feel like you were really like in a new place, something gloomy.
It was different.
Yeah, very, very intriguing.
Well, we're in front of the bartender, right? It's in the Hive. I think it was one of the places that inspired a lot of fans to make crazy videos with Jensen and the NPCs, like the Punch Revolution, Safety Dance
with the cover system. That's one of the great ones.
I remember this one, the Safety Dance. I was laughing, I was crying.
Because Adam makes this little groove when he goes from left cover to right cover or whatever, and this guy just like, hey, if I just keep on going, it looks like he's dancing. It just it just goes on for the entire Safety Dance song, which is, by the way, a song from Montreal. It was a Men Without Hats, which was one of the main 80s bands at the time.
What was the other video like? He goes in front of the bartender and he asks him, what kind of drink do you want? And then he goes in his head and he starts to punch everyone.
Because it's called the Chinese gut punch or something? Is that what it is? I think it's from there. And then
the names of those drinks. You can't imagine Adam Jensen drinking any of those.
Any of those, yeah. And then you see him kill everybody, and then he just gets out of his his daydreaming of killing everybody. And he's like, the Chinese gut punch.
And what's even more fun with those drinks is you should go into the menus and you should look at the item descriptions, because they were written by Mark Chechery and he had so much fun. The things that are in those drinks, you should read the descriptions of these drinks. They're talking about how poisonous they actually really are, and it's quite interesting. So take a look in the menus.
And he was in the AAs at that time, right, Mark? Just kidding. He had a couple of chips on his desk.
All that to say that the fans made us laugh quite a bit. Yeah.
I love you guys.
Yeah. No, seriously, it's true what Jeff is saying. Now we're saying about a lot of the fan-made stuff in relation to the Hive, but just everything was so unexpected. We had no idea that it would connect that much.
Excellent choice.
Thank you.
There you go. You got a fib talking about a drink, right? There you go. You got a favorite poison?
I'm looking for Tong.
Everyone wants to talk to Tong. Check the VIP lounge upstairs.
Shit, it's gone.
Yeah, so now we're in front of the bartender, like, which eventually will be revealed to be Tong Seong, but at this point we don't know that. And building this social boss fight, actually it's the first one we presented to the press in 2010 at E3.
Yes, the first one we showed.
It's not the first one we built, but this one was really, really hard to nail.
This one was really hard to nail for us from a writing perspective.
You were dealing with a stranger.
Yeah, I mean, when we were going through the blueprint, it was such a cool idea because we wanted our Kaiser Soze moment, you know, in the game. And when you think about that, it's like, oh, how cool is that going to be? But when you're actually faced with building the dialogue challenge, you're like, okay, but there's no common ground. There's nothing for him to be hiding from us. We don't know what we're trying to get out of him.
Yeah. And it's tough to make it personal.
It was tough to make it really, really personal. And, you know, like with Wayne Haas, we built this entire backstory and relationship between Jensen and him so we could kind of play with that. But here we struggled for a long, long time to figure out how do we make this at all interesting? I mean, why is it that he is just not going to tell you who he really is and all that? And I can't quite remember. I think it was you gave some inspiration to us by saying, kind of think about it in terms of Yoda.
Yoda and Luke Skywalker, their first encounter, like that the Yoda is like trying to guess or gauge what the kid is and everything. And so basically, this is how it helped us to solve and try to play this kind of game where Tong Seong tries to get a sense of who Jensen is and what he's got.
Yeah, and every single one of these you have to build them based on the personality of the character. So once we had that, we could sit there and say, okay, what is this character of Tong and what is he? And it ends up being, I think it's one of my favorite ones.
And actually, Tong Seong didn't exist until we cut the Bangalore map.
That's true. Well, he existed here, but he wasn't an important character. He was really just the owner of the nightclub. But then we originally had we had an entire
because the
map.
Harvesters were supposed to be in Bangalore.
I remember that.
And when we ended up having, we originally had an entire different map. Instead of coming back to Hangsha, you were supposed to go to India instead. And in India, you would meet another crime lord, and he would be a character there. And then when we had to cut India and we folded it into Hangsha, then suddenly we could take this character who was not very important in the beginning of the story. We could make him Tong Seong. We could tie in the relevance to Deus Ex, the original, and it became much more important, and his character really blossomed at that point.
What was it about the if you win the conversation, like Tong's teleport to...
Yeah, we had a big problem with Tong's magical teleporting act that he had.
It's an augmentation, actually.
Well, it was basically when you would finish the conversation with him, he would stay at the bar, and when you would go down, I believe it's regardless of whether you win or lose, he would teleport to his office, whether you spotted him from the vent and voyeuristically watched him, or if you were actually to go in, he would be there, and you would be like, how did he just get from upstairs to downstairs? So we had actually added the stairwell you see right behind Tong's bar upstairs. We added this doorway that was locked with a stairwell leading down to the basement to sort of credibilize that.
But you can't use that door.
Yeah, you can. There's a level 3 or 4 or something.
Yeah, it's a high-level hacking, if I recall.
And if you hack it,
he teleports.
Yeah, he still teleports.
You work here?
Yeah, you could say that.
Good. I need to see your boss.
Really? Well, I'm sorry, Guilo. Mr. Tong Zihong sees no one today.
Look, I didn't come halfway around the world to take no for an answer. Do us both a favor and tell me where he is.
Or what? You get mad and tear down a few walls with those enhancements of yours? This place isn't named the Hive for nothing. It's got plenty of worker bees come out of the paneling to stop you. What is it you think Mr. Tong do for you anyway?
I'm looking for someone. A cybersecurity specialist named Ari Van Bruggen. You know him?
Never heard of him. What do you do? Steal your girl? Owe you money?
He had a job go bad, and now he's on the run from the people who hired him. But you knew that already, because a man like Mr. Tong doesn't hire idiots. And this is the first place people like Van Bruggen come when they need help. So stop wasting my time and take me to Tong.
You've got it backwards, boy. You're wasting my time. Van Bruggen is minor league player. Tong knows who he is. He just don't care. He's got bigger things to worry about.
You expect me to fall for that? Small-timers don't attract this much attention. They don't have bell tower soldiers staking out their apartments. Van Bruggen's pissed off somebody big. And there's no way Tong's going to ignore that kind of development in his town.
You're smarter than you look. Yeah. Tong is keeping a close eye on things. Like you said, he's no fool. Van Bruggen is the hottest thing in town right now. But nobody in Hengshot is going to let an outsider in on the action, especially not Aguayo. You don't know the rules of the game around here.
You see that bodyguard over there? If you're gonna play tricks on the Guaylo, you gotta train your people better. Everything about him is shouting out who you really are, Mr. Tong. Now how about we go someplace private? Unless you want everyone in the club to know what you're hiding.
Fine. Fine. I'll meet you in my office, downstairs in the basement. The boys will let you through.
Here's another good example of our show don't tell philosophy. This room tells a lot about Tong and who he is. He's a man, obviously, who doesn't really care about fluff at his level, like for himself. His bar, like his club, is really, really nice and somewhat posh and everything. But if you look at where he works, he's in the basement, and he's in some kind of utility room with crap all over it, all sorts of like tacky little things left and right. So we were really, really happy with it. Jim Murray, the concept artist, did an amazing concept for it, and it's one of those pieces that ended up looking exactly the same in the game. A lot of attention to details, a lot of efforts put into this room, and it's a great. The room in itself is a great showcase for what we tried to do visually in this game.
So, we got some privacy now. How about you tell me who you work for? Then I decide what I tell you about Van Bruggen.
Does the name Seraph Industries ring any bells?
Seraph Industries? Isn't that American company stole all the headlines a while back? You're still in business?
Why wouldn't we be?
Check the news. Biotech corporations seem to be failing a lot these days, especially the ones who are making enhancements. Van Bruggen's in the Alice Garden pods. Capsule 301. Place is a rat hole, but it's useful sometimes. Make sure you leave him in the same shape you find him.
And if I don't?
Your call. But those implants of yours might look even more special on somebody else.
Malik, you were right. Tong is helping Van Bruggen. He stashed him in the Alice Garden pods.
Thought as much. A hacker who knows his way around corporate firewalls would make a valuable asset for the Triads. I'm at the pods myself, Jensen. Want me to run interference?
No, don't put yourself at risk. I'm heading there now.
Hey, leaving already, tough guy? Because you might want to go over to the bar and order yourself a drink before you do. Maybe Bobby will have something for you.
Bobby?
The bartender. The real bartender, that is.
Thanks. I just might check that out.
You do that.
You got a favorite poison?
Looks like Tong's running a nice operation here.
You for hire? Because a suspicious man might not appreciate you asking.
A suspicious man might also wonder what kind of job gets handed off to strangers. But alright, I'll bite. What are you offering?
I got a problem I need solving. Trouble is, none of my usual guys are available. And this problem? It involves a woman. Someone who owes Tong Operation here some money. Getting it out of her is proving to be difficult. It's a dirty job, but it pays well. You interested?
Tell me more. I'm listening.
That's what I like to hear. This woman, Jaya, she's a broker. Highly competitive field in Hengsha. But without the right skills, her business wasn't doing so well. So, we helped her out. Gave her a nice social enhancement upgrade chip so she could understand her clients' needs. Now, it's time to pay us what's due, but she says she won't.
So basically you want me to be your collector?
Yes, but it's not as simple as that. The girl's gone into hiding and thinks we won't find her. But she also took her phone and computer along to keep her business alive.
Not very smart, assuming you've got the equipment to track those.
We don't exactly, but we know someone who does, and that's where you come in. Bao Tower set up a surveillance network around town, a series of relay antennas. I need you to hack them. 3 relays should be enough for us to access the database and triangulate Jaya's position.
Then I go get your money.
Exactly. The first relay is on the rooftop of a 4-story building in the Yuzhou district. I assume you've got an info link and Wayfinder package in those fancy OGs of yours? I'll upload the coordinates and then contact you once you've hacked in. Good job, Lao Wei. I see you found the first relay. Now hack it and turn off its security protocols.
Access granted.
One down, two to go, my friend.
Access granted.
Good. Second relay is down. Only one remaining.
Anyone crosses this perimeter, give them one warning. If they ignore you, start shooting. Can't risk infiltration.
I give my warning in English.
What kind of question is that? Whatever the fuck language you want.
I can't speak Mandarin. What if they don't understand me?
Everyone understands the universal sign language of the world. Trust me, Lieutenant.
Hear anything? Looks like nothing. Back to work.
Access granted.
Excellent work. I'm starting the triangulation now. Should have a location very soon. And I've got it. Jaya is hiding in an apartment building called the Hengsha Court Gardens in the Yuzhou district. I'm sending you her coordinates. Get over there and get us the money she owes.
Who are you? Another one of Tong's thugs? Well, get out! I told him I won't pay another credit.
Look, I know this is not an ideal situation, and I'm not proud that I gotta do this. But Tong's crew wants the money you owe them.
Oh, you poor boy. Having trouble dealing with the dirty job you have to do? And I should feel sorry for you? Reality check, taxman. You're here to steal money from me.
Stealing? They got you the augmentation you needed, and they expect you to pay for it. Not the most charitable thing to do, but I would hardly call it stealing.
Are you really that gullible? Tong doesn't run a buy now, pay later operation. It's more like a buy now, pay forever. Listen, I just started as a broker. Most other brokers come from rich families. They paid for augments that give them an incredible edge in the business. There's no way I could afford anything like that through legal channels.
So you cut a deal with a crime syndicate.
I didn't study this hard to end up with nothing. Once I made enough money, I offered to pay for the aug. But no, what they want is part of my monthly profits. They say they're entitled to it since it's their upgraded enhancement chip that helped me make that money.
Couldn't you work without the augment? You wouldn't have gotten into so much trouble if you'd played by the rules.
Play by the rules? Let me tell you a little story about playing by the rules. I come from a poor family. My father, my mother, my 2 sisters, and 3 brothers, none of them ever amounted to much. When I tried to do better, when I made efforts in school, they said I was wasting my time. I got into business school, and again, they said I was wasting my time. That I could never compete with all those rich kids and their tutors and extra classes.
But you did.
I did. I finished top of my class, without the extra help and special attention, only through blood, sweat, and tears. And then what did my classmates do? They cheated. They once again bought their way to success. And what did my family say? That I had wasted my time. I was just supposed to accept defeat after all the efforts I've made? No. No way.
How did you meet Tong?
The same way most people end up meeting Tong. I was hurt, and one of his hounds smelled blood. They came to me and offered me help. I was intelligent enough to know it was a bad idea, but angry enough not to care.
How much are they asking from you?
A couple hundred credits every month. Doesn't look like much, but in the long run, let's just say they've made a very lucrative deal. Especially if you consider I'm not their only client.
Listen, maybe I can speak to one of Tong's men. Try and get you off the hook.
You would do that? I thought you were just another one of his mindless thugs. It's hard to properly express what this could mean for me.
Don't thank me yet. I can't guarantee they'll listen, but I'll try.
I think bringing in Bell Tower to police the city is a great thing.
You know, it's either them or it's us.
Access granted.
What can I get you?
Hey, about that job?
You found Jaya yet? You need to get back the money she owes us.
What's it gonna take for you to leave Jaya alone for good?
I don't understand. Didn't you get the money?
I know about the Shylock scam you're running. Get her the augment she wants and then bleed her with monthly payments for the rest of her life. I want to know what it's gonna take for you to leave her alone for good.
A cyborg with a heart of gold, are we? Tell you what, Guaylo. You give me a year's worth of payments and she's free.
You're too kind a man. A fine specimen of humanity. Here's your money. Now you better leave her alone.
Don't make threats you can't enforce. But yes, she's off the hook. Here, take this practice kit. It's top-notch, so have fun.
So one of the things we did here was that we had to actually move the hive slightly to the right towards the corner so that you could see it much more easily as you're walking down the street. reasons for landmarking issues where you'll at least have something you can see in the distance that'll help you from getting lost. And another reason we had actually done it was for the bartender side quest. If you actually solve it in the correct way, I suppose you could say, when he puts up the giant TV screens and shows that the guy is the culprit behind the murder, well...
Actually, it wasn't the bartender, it was Farida's. It was Farida's.
Yeah. I was even more confused, but basically you could see it more clearly there. And you had a much bigger visibility on that, so it turned out really cool.
And also we had to make the building taller because we have a section on the rooftop, and if players were exploring, you had to see the hive on the... You remember,
you needed
Antoine,
to see the whole thing.
Exactly, so...
And there was also this issue of players jumping off-world.
That's why we made it higher?
As the map grew, everything was getting harder and harder to contain the players in.
Jensen, I was on my way out.
What are you doing here, Malik? I told you I got this one.
I know. I didn't do anything. Trust me. Van Bruggen's all yours.
Hang on a second. Something's wrong. What is it? Why are you here?
It's nothing. I mean, can't a girl have secrets?
Sure. Makes them more interesting that way. But when the girl is my pilot and my only ticket out of here, I prefer a more open relationship.
Good point.
Glad you agree. But you still haven't answered the question.
Fine, since you're so damn curious. Years ago, I used to live here, remember? My friend, my best friend, Evelyn. She was like a sister to me. Made living here fun. But then there was an accident. She's dead.
I'm sorry, Malik.
Wait, Jensen, let me finish. I thought I was okay with it, but I know she didn't just die. She was killed. Murdered. Her damn scumbag boyfriend did it. I know he did. I knew he was trouble right from the start, but she just wouldn't listen to me.
Malik, easy. If your friend was murdered, the police would have suspected something. They would have investigated.
That's just it. There was no investigation. They said she fell down a flight of stairs like it was some kind of freak accident. But her wounds, the way she died, they don't add up. It's right here in the damn blood spatter analysis.
Blood spatter? You've seen the police report?
Yes. A friend left a copy of it in a pod here for me to pick up. Listen, I know it sounds crazy, but I think there's been a cover-up. I just have to prove it. If I could get my hands on the autopsy report, the one that never surfaced, I know I'd get the truth. Except...
Why do I suspect I'm about to get dragged into something?
Look, Jensen, I'm sorry. I know Van Bruggen is the priority here, and I told you it was my business and I could take care of it. It's just... The more I think about it, the more I realize I'm in over my head. I'm just a pilot. I'm not a damn cop. But I need to know the truth.
Okay, I'll help. What do you need me to do?
My lead, he works for LIM. He's a systems technician who apparently has access to their entire database. He's willing to hand over a copy of Evelyn's autopsy report.
So you want me to meet him and get the report, is that it?
Yes, but he'll only respond to a certain phrase. Death and life have their determined appointments. To which he'll reply, riches and honors depend upon heaven.
Christ, Malik, this is starting to sound like something out of a bad spy movie.
I know. He's just trying to protect himself. I didn't pick the damn quote. So just play along and remember the line, okay? You'll find him inside the lobby of the Lower Hengsha Limb Clinic.
Does this guy have a name?
None that I know of. But he apparently goes by the handle Anonymous X. I know.
Anonymous X. Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, before I forget, everything concerning Evelyn's incident, newspaper articles, the police report, limb details, it's all inside pod 009 here in the hotel. You should read over everything if you can.
Pod 9. Got it.
I need to go. Contact me with any updates and... Thank you. I really appreciate this, Jensen.
我搞不懂为什么 GA 找不到人来这里修图。
My visit to Prague just consumed all of my attention these days.
哎，我要去洗个澡。
这么几拳就累了？不会吧？再说，澡堂还没开门呢。
我知道，就算我也不怎么想要去。告诉你，我付了那么多的房租，到最后还要跟其他12个笨蛋家伙共用一个浴室，这个真的有很多地方跟天牢啊没什么不一样。
那你打算找房东谈谈？
怎么你的声音听起来？
我连着。
And that clock is a blood-soaked one, people. Not only because they're both CEOs who profit off people carving themselves up with...
You're in serious trouble, Eliza. And it's time that we as a species stepped up to make things better. Our best chance of doing this is to modify ocean temperatures through a combination of ion seeding and geothermal management.
Forgive me, Mr. Darrow, but many people believe that your Arctic Ocean installation is more risk than sabotage. When will we be able to see the truth for ourselves?
As soon as the installation is complete.
If you would like to hear more of my exclusive interview with Hugh Darrow, log on to www.picusweb.com. This is Eliza Kassan reporting to you live from Picus.
报个价。
So one of our main tools when we design games with this team is called the blueprint, and this is when we almost lay out every single detail of how the game is going to work, how it's going to proceed, and what's going to be in it. And we knew at that point when we designed it that it would be some kind of hotel, right? That where Ari Van Bruggen would be stashed in, and that Adam would have to go find him there. And during one of those blueprint sessions, that's when we had the idea. We got inspired by the Japanese capsule hotels and said, hey, what about if there's almost like a little sub-society of these things?
A village.
Literally a mini village of these things, like this huge hall, right? Like almost like underground hall with like hundreds of these things stacked up, and people literally live there. They're like almost low rent apartments, and the place becomes its own little ecosystem with shops and where people are playing cards and drinking and stuff like that, and that's where it all kind of gelled together.
And I think we alluded to the fact that it belongs to Tong Seong as well.
Oh, yeah?
No, I'm not sure. I can't remember now if he owns it or if he just
tries.
Yeah, he's got major connections to it. Yeah, and I think
who would want to buy that?
He's stashed many a person in that hotel before. So yeah.
You buy or sell? I do it all. Look at a computer and see for yourself. Come back anytime. Everything you want, right here. Come back anytime. best. Bye-bye. Og best. Bye-bye.
I feel like the only place to work around here is TYM. I don't feel like being a part of the machine.
You want to work for that weirdo Hugh Darrow in Panchea?
That weirdo is going to stop global warming with his geoengineering project. They're saving the Earth up there.
I heard you can only work there if you have augmentations.
That's true, but I can volunteer to get augmented. Then I get put on a list, and before no time, off to the Arctic Ocean I go.
So instead of being part of a machine, you're going to turn yourself into one?
Ugh.
Excuse me, do you know where the limb clinic is?
Yes, it's on Xichang Road, near the market.
Great, thanks.
And it's time that we as a species stepped up to make things better.
Excuse me, sir.
Our best chance
Do you know
of
how
doing
to get
this is
to
to modify
Young
ocean
Medical from here?
through a
Sure,
combination
gorgeous.
of ions.
You have to take a train.
and geothermal management.
But you know, you can't get into the building without an access card.
Oh, really? I just graduated from university and I wanted to drop off a resume.
I think you're better off sending an email.
As soon as
It's
the
a high
installation-
security compound, sweetheart.
If you'd like to hear more of my exclusive interview with
You're pretty.
log on
If
to
you don't get a job,
www.
Can't you see I'm busy? Go bother someone else.
Death and life have their determined appointments.
What? Oh, and riches and honors depend upon heaven. Very good.
Right, what now?
Shh. They have eyes and ears everywhere. Meet me outside the clinic. Turn left from the front and go down the stairs. I'll be waiting at the corner.
It doesn't happen often, folks, but it appears that I may have to retract an earlier statement. Millionaire Hugh Darrow has contacted me personally to deny allegations of involvement in secret United Nations meetings about the augmentation debate. Here's what the man had to say.
My visit to Prague was related exclusively to the project which has consumed all of my attention these days.
You're referring to the Panchaea Project, the cooperative global initiative that aims at healing our world.
Earth's ecosphere is in serious trouble, Eliza. And it's time that we as a species stepped up to make things better. Our best chance at doing this is to modify ocean temperatures through a combination of ion seeding and geothermal management.
Forgive me, Mr. Darrow, but many people believe that your Arctic Ocean installation is more risk than certainty. When will we be able to see the truth for ourselves?
As soon as the installation is complete.
If you would like to hear more of my exclusive interview with Hugh Darrow, log on to www.
Over here! Come on now! I'm relieved to know they sent a professional, at least.
That makes two of us.
Right. Well, though not exactly what I was expecting. I was told I would be meeting a girl. How do I know you're not an imposter or some sort of double agent? Don't think I don't know this could all just be an elaborate trap to set me up.
Look, no offense, Mr. X, or whatever your name is, but I really don't have time for this. So if you could simply just give me what I came for, I'll be on my way.
Yes, yes. I have it right here. Evelyn Carmichael's autopsy report. Here, take it.
Thank you.
I trust you will put this information to good use, because accountability and justice is at an all-time low, I'm afraid. It pains me to see this once great city, which stood as a bastion for reform and progress against our oppressive communist origins, succumb to the trappings of corporate bureaucracy and petty corruption. Corruption so often typical of your Western governments.
Whatever you say. Now, if you don't mind, I really must be going.
Well, there is still the matter of my payment. 1,000 credits was the agreed-upon price, I believe. Isn't that right?
A little piece of advice. When attempting to extort money from someone, don't give them what they want before trying to rip them off.
What? What? You mean you aren't going to pay? But I risked everything to get you that file.
Chalk it up to a learning experience and move on.
You scoundrel! You'll regret this someday. You just mark my words.
See you later, X. Malik, I just got the autopsy report. No drugs or alcohol in Evelyn's system. And her estimated time of death doesn't fit Lee's story. She did die from a head wound, but not one that matches the evidence found at the scene.
I knew it. It couldn't have been just an accident.
There's more. Evelyn was pregnant. Malik?
I'm here. We can't let him get away with this, Jensen. He's guilty. He has to be. Can you go to his apartment?
And do what?
Get proof. Get something. I'm sending you the coordinates. Contact me again when you're there.
Malik, I'm inside Lee's apartment. Doesn't look like anyone's home.
Damn. Okay, look. Lee isn't smart enough to properly cover his tracks, so look around. Maybe you can find something suspicious.
Malik, I think I got a probable murder weapon. A broken clock. The kicker is the hands line up roughly with Evelyn's TOD. Coincidence?
That's a hell of a stretch. You really think?
If Lee's as dumb as you say, maybe. We'd need lab tech analysis to confirm, but if there ever was a smoking gun, it fits. I'll keep looking. I'm sure there's more here. Malik, I found a baseball bat, but it looks clean. Almost like it's been washed recently.
Maybe Lee washed Evelyn's blood off of it.
That's what I'm thinking. But I'm not sure it could inflict the type of laceration she had. I'll stick around a bit. I'm sure there's still more to find.
Access granted.
Malik, it looks like Hong Sr. was upset with Hong Jr.'s behavior and threatened to cut off his inheritance if he didn't stop whoring around. Sounds like he considered Evelyn beneath the family name.
And if he knew she was pregnant, I can't believe Lee would do something like that just for money.
Speaking of money, the Hong family seems heavily invested in both Bell Tower and Lim. That could explain the cover-up and lack of a proper investigation. I'll make one last sweep to make sure I got everything.
Hey, Lee, baby. Can't wait to see you tonight. But I'm stuck at work. I know, I'm sorry. I'll make it up to you, baby. I promise. I'll meet you at the Hive, okay? Just don't get a party started without me. I want you all to myself tonight.
The Hive? I should have guessed Lee would be there. It's pretty much a second home for him.
Wait a minute, you heard that?
Sorry, Jensen. I don't like invading your privacy like this, but it's important. Plus, this gives me an idea. When you're done looking around Lee's apartment, head to the Hive. Contact me when you're there.
Okay, I think that's it. I'm heading to the Hive now. I doubt we'll find anything else in here without calling in a forensics team.
Sounds good.
Access granted. Access granted.
Malik, I'm in the hive. What's your plan?
Find Lee and talk to him. I want you to convince him you know exactly what he did to Evelyn and why. If you can make him panic, I'm willing to bet he'll spill his guts. Just make it look like blackmail. If he's willing to pay to keep you quiet, he's basically tying his own noose. I'll listen in and record everything.
Got it.
What you want, Chrome Boy?
Is your name Lee Hong?
Yeah, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. What's it to you?
I want to talk to you about Evelyn Carmichael.
Man, it's off! I already told all you narcos all there is to say.
Relax. I'm not with the police. I work private. And you could say I specialize in cases like yours.
If you ain't police, then what the fuck you want?
A simple proposition. I have proof that shows you murdered Evelyn. And I want you to pay me 2.5 million credits to make that proof disappear.
2.5? Bullshit. You ain't got shit on me, narco. I ain't paying you shit.
I strongly suggest you reconsider.
And I strongly suggest you get the fuck out of my face. Cause unless you got your proof right here, I ain't got shit to say to you.
Alright. Let's start with the police report. I know your story doesn't match up with the evidence at the scene of Evelyn's fall.
Oh yeah? And why's that?
Because the police report was full of inaccuracies. Like someone deliberately tampered with evidence.
Yeah, and? That still don't prove shit.
Not only does the evidence not add up, but neither does your testimony. You lied about why Evelyn fell down the stairs in the first place. You said you'd both been drinking heavily prior to the accident, and the reason Evelyn fell was because she was drunk. We both know that isn't true.
Man, that shit was in the papers.
Now, if the evidence doesn't fit, and your story was a lie, then how did Evelyn die on that night? Well, the answer is pretty simple, really. You killed her. But how? By hitting her in the head with that antique clock you keep so prominently displayed in your apartment. The lacerations on her head, the intracranial hemorrhaging, it's the perfect match.
In my apartment? How the fuck do you know what's in my apartment?
And like any good crime of passion, you needed motivation, something to fuel your violent outbursts. What did Evelyn say or do to make you murder her? She told you she was pregnant, and you panicked. Faced with the prospect of losing your easy way of life, you struck out at her in anger.
How? That's impossible.
But now the final piece of the puzzle. Why was Evelyn's death never considered a murder investigation? Because your family, one of the wealthiest and most influential families in Shanghai, covered it up. But whose silence did they buy? Lim. Your family's sizable investments in Lim assured the autopsy performed on Evelyn's body would never see the light of day, and her death would simply fall through the cracks of an already crumbling justice system.
Fuck this shit, man! And fuck you!
I can help you, Lee. But only for a price.
Alright, fuck! I can't believe this shit! I'll pay you, man! I'll pay you, just... What do you need from me?
Details. Let me hear your side of the story, and then we'll move on from there.
I don't know! Evelyn, that stupid bitch! She was going to ruin me. I didn't mean to kill her, okay? Evelyn wouldn't shut up about us, about the baby, so I hit her. I just wanted to make her shut her stupid mouth. But the dumb bitch started freaking out. So I hit her again until she finally stopped screaming. When I realized what I'd done, I panicked. She was barely breathing, so I carried her to the stairs near my apartment and dropped her. I had to make sure it looked like an accident. I had no choice. She trapped me. She just wanted my money. I would have been ruined.
I need to go. We'll be in contact again soon.
Huh? What about the evidence? And the money? Where the fuck you going?
Goodbye, Lee. Malik, please tell me you got a recording of all that.
Oh my God, Jensen, I could kiss you right now. I can't believe you got him to confess so openly like that.
To be honest, it was easier than I was expecting. You were definitely right about Lee. He's not exactly the sharpest tool in the shed.
Well, don't get too cocky just yet. Before I send our little friend's confession off to the local media and authorities, I want to get some Shanghai street justice first. There's a control panel linked to the hive I need you to hack. Uploading the coordinates now.
Access granted.
All right, Malik. It's hacked.
Verifying the signal. Come on, come on. Okay, I'm in. Remote frequencies are clear, thank God. Uploading now. And done. Meet me in front of the hive, Jensen. I have a little surprise for our friend Lee. Jensen.
Malik?
Well, first take this. I was gonna use it myself, but after everything you've done, I think you deserve it more.
So what are you gonna do now?
I have a few loose ends to tie up, and I need to make sure this autopsy report finds its way into the right hands. The Hongs aren't gonna buy their way out of this one.
Lee's confession is solid. With that and the evidence from the autopsy, there's no way he can avoid prosecution. Justice will be served.
Oh, justice will be served, all right. You might want to stick around for a second. I've got one last little surprise for our friend Lee. Are you facing the hive? It's almost showtime. In 3, 2...
Malik.
Just watch.
I don't know. Evelyn, that stupid bitch. She was going to ruin me. I didn't mean to kill her, okay?
Malik, remind me never to piss you off.
After everything you've done here for Evelyn, for me, you'd have to try pretty hard, mister.
他火热的气息会把你烧焦的，我的朋友。好的，好的，它火热的气息会把你烧焦的。
Access granted. Access granted.
Hey, you know where I can find some?
Maybe.
This is pretty cool. We can see that Ari here in his little environment, if you want, in the capsule hotel. It's almost as if he's rented more than one capsule. You know, there's the one where he lives in, and he's got, like, I don't know, 6 other ones where he's got all of his servers that he's stashed in. You know, and he's all super uber connected. So that's a great show don't tell.
One of the things going on, which you had spoken about earlier, it's kind of funny because we really wanted to have, I really loved the whole concept of the Japanese pause, but at the same time, I had the tech artist guy telling me, you can put 20 people in this environment. And I was like, how am I going to portray
This
small
sub-society
village,
thing.
A sub-society basically in a tiny village. So one of the ideas I had that I suggested was all the closed pods, if we could put silhouettes behind them that could move. In the end, we couldn't get them to move because we had problems with reacting with chaos. Actually, if you were to fire a gun, like the people would still be playing their little Game Boy or whatever, or doing whatever they were doing inside the
like
pod.
making love.
Exactly, or making love.
Because there is in one of the pods.
We had a lot of fun with those. I think I remember we ended up putting one of them had like Optimus Prime behind it. And
What?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
We removed it, of course. But during the process of creating it, was a lot of fun.
The lawyers again, eh?
Yeah.
But there is a couple having sex.
There is.
Yeah, I was going back to the couple having sex.
Just people having fun.
Just want to make sure that you confirm it.
But just doing that really helped with adding life to the environment that has a limitation of.
But what's interesting is what you're saying, just to make sure that people understand. We're talking about just like those silhouettes, those shadows behind the windows, which add a lot, but they're not real NPCs,
Exactly.
and it's great.
You can't do anything with them, so it was a little.
But it works.
A little trick.
But we were scared at first when we heard that. Oh, you have room for about 20 NPCs, and it needs to feel alive. At first, we were kind of depressed.
Ah, man, I had a lot of moments where you would fire a bullet in Capsule Hotel, and it would crash because there would be so many people running around and causing such a problem of resources that the map would just crash. So. But in the end, it turned out super cool, I think, and a lot of the pocket secretaries that we hid too in the environment to give a lot of life to give a backstory to the people living there. We have someone who, like, abandoned their children, and just look around, read around, and you'll.
Really?
We had a lot of fun with these pods and their stories.
It's one of the great. It's almost as if we made a little city hub. Almost.
Forget it, man. You're not my type.
This isn't a booty call, Van Bruggen. This is about you and some friends of yours I met in Detroit.
Detroit? Yeah, okay. I got it now. You with Seraph, right? You were there when I had to pull the plug.
So you admit it. You were running a mole.
The heck, man. Just the heck. Worst decision I ever made taking that gig. As you can obviously see.
You attack my people, Windmill. You hope to walk away from this, you tell me what you know.
Down, boy. I've got no allegiance to that backstabbing bitch who hired me. Especially after she painted a target on my back. The girl you want is Zhao Yunru, Tai Young Medical's CEO.
Tai Young Medical? They're Seraph's biggest competition.
How do you think they got that way? Zhao doesn't like competition, see? So she uses hack attacks, blackmail, extortion, anything she can do to destabilize him. No offense, but Seraph was just the latest in a long line.
You got any proof of this?
There's a surveillance recording in the Tai Young Tower. I stashed it on the server in case I ever needed an insurance policy.
Not a very smart place to hide it, seeing as you don't work there anymore.
Things got hot before I could move it. And now, I got you to get it for me. Of course, you can't just walk into that place. You're gonna need an employee card encoded with your biometrics to use the TYM shuttle.
Well, what do you know, Windmill? I've already got an employee card. Just needs the biometrics from my passport to work. So start encoding.
So the one thing I really liked about the character of Arie Van Bruggen, he's such a small character and he doesn't have a big role in it, but we really wanted him to be memorable. We wanted someone like a Gary Oldman performance in True Romance. And we got very lucky when we found Alex Ivanovich as the actor. He throws his heart into it. And so he makes it a very memorable character.
And also in this scene, the bell tower guards are going to attack the Capsule Hotel. And in the final game, we didn't have the time to put as much enemies using augmentation as we wanted, and therefore was pushing for adding the bell tower guards storming in using the Icarus landing system, so it would compensate for the lack of real augmentation.
Like you still know they're augmented through that cutscene, even though once they start attacking, there's not much augmentation.
Yeah. And there was a little bit of a problem on my end in terms of design because I had already done all the attacking patrols and none of the guards had augmentations because I wasn't supposed to. And suddenly I find out we have a cutscene where they're storming in and Icarus landing, and I'm just I gotta update all my patrols to make sure they fit the and it worked out. So
I want that hacker dead!
You gotta help me, Jensen. They're gonna kill me.
And that concerns me, how?
Oh, come on, man. I helped you out. At least give me a weapon so I can defend myself.
All right, fine. Take this and get out of here.
Oh, thanks, man. I won't forget this.
Everyone's on high alert. If someone is here, he isn't leaving. Oh, what's that noise?
Kill the American and find that hacker! Keep looking. Sweep this place clean.
Watch out for more weirdness. Not here. He comes back. Get ready. Get out here! No way he got away. I know you're here! Where the hell is he? Not here. Comes back. Get ready. Not here. Looks like he's gone. But I better stay on top of it.
So this part of the Alice Garden Hotel was really interesting to me because I wanted to have a secondary route for the player to take to get out of the entire building that wasn't the front entrance. And one of the ways I did that was just think of ways that these people who live here, things they had to do during their daily lives. So I thought they need to take showers, they need to go to the bathroom, they have a locker room, they have washer and dryer and all these kinds of things. So this kind of just naturally created the entire underground back portion of the...
It's a great spot. I love it.
I love it too.
And visually speaking, and gameplay-wise too.
Gameplay-wise, yeah.
It
was like a nice little surprise. You get there and you're like, where the hell am I?
Yeah, and it keeps on going. It gives even more context to the Alice Garden pod.
Makes it more alive.
Makes it more
credibility as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, okay,
and one of my favorite parts actually was that the as you enter the Alice Garden pod, there's actually a gated fence. And that actually showcases the end of the level that you see when you just first come in. I really like that. I managed to connect the bottom like that, so everything worked out well.
This is the spot. Keep looking. Someone must be there. Gunshot! What happened?
Access granted.
Malik, get Pritchard on the line. Tell him I need everything he's got on the Tai Young Medical Building. Schematics, blueprints, everything.
That might take a while, Jensen.
Yeah, well, he's got as long as it takes for me to find this Tai Young shuttle Van Bruggen talked about and ride it to their factory. Jensen out.
Trouble, Eliza. And it's time that we as a species stepped up to make things better. Our best chance at doing this is to modify ocean temperatures through a combination of iron sealing and geothermal.
Malik, any word from Pritchard yet?
I'm right here, Jensen, staring at a blueprint of the Tai Young Medical Building.
Great. I need access to a security terminal in the Upper City Tower.
You do realize there's an entire skyline between you and it, don't you?
I know. The Bangu. Any idea how... how I get to it?
I suggest you start by going up.
Access granted.
Well, here we're about to encounter this poor NPC that is caught in this incident at the beginning of the Tai Young facility. I don't know, like, we always struggle to make this thing work properly in terms of setting up the incident in the first place, and how you could save him or not, and what were the consequences. And since you're kind of a stranger infiltrating this place, already it made something really, really awkward. So
yeah, we went through many iterations. I felt the poor level design guys kept coming up with ideas and bringing them to us, and we were like, it's not credible.
Yeah, and after that, once you either help him or not, now you stumble into the Tai Young the bell tower guards before the control room of the pool area and everything, and like this bribing thing, and then it was convoluted.
It was convoluted. What we were trying to show, though, is we were trying to show right from the start how Tai Young Medical doesn't really care about its employees, and it doesn't have a lot of it uses cheap materials and all that. And I think we were struggling very much to try and put in something credible. Yeah. We got something that at least works, but it works, but
it's not very elegant. Yeah.
And I've always liked the fact that he's some kind of like hazardous chemicals that's spreading out, and he's in a hazmat suit. And at first, it was not even any cracks on his window.
Yeah.
So it was like, well, he's in a hazmat suit. So we ended up putting a crack window in his visor, but also he's got a whole breathing mask under it, nonetheless. So I guess it's skin irritating or something.
You! Help!
regulator machine. It shorted it out, causing a toxic gas leak. I tried to get to the... But I'm stuck in here. I couldn't.
Enough with the play-by-play. What do you need?
There's a valve in the next room. You have to close it.
I'll see what I can do.
Oh, thank God. Please hurry. I don't know how much. You saved my life. How can I repay you?
You can give me some directions.
To where?
I need to get to the upper tower.
You must use the elevator pass to cryosterilization room. But unauthorized personnel aren't allowed up there. But Kim is the guard on duty today. He owes me a favor. Just tell him Lee sent you, and he should let you through.
Much appreciated, my friend.
The least I can do